good evening, everyone. My name is Veronica Fountain. Welcome to another great show, the Simply Bowie Magazine live television show. We're off to a great year, great start so far. We've had health and wellness, arts and entertainment. We've had some great shows so far. And today we have one of our best realtors in the Bowie, Maryland area. His name is Wesley Williams, and welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Veronica. It is really my pleasure to be here.
Awesome, awesome. I'm really pleased that you are here today. Tell me, how long have you been a realtor?
So I've been licensed in Maryland for about the past 11 years or so.
11 years, okay.
And I've been doing this completely full-time. This has been my job for the past 5 years.
Okay, you like it?
Oh, I love it. I especially love it when I get transactions closed and I get paid. I mean.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell me some of your day-to-day role as a realtor. And the reason why I'm asking this because it's like, oh my God, just 70 to 80,000 registered realtors in the area, in Prince George's County.
There are a lot of us. There are a lot of us. And I think the way I look at my role is that I help people navigate the whole process of buying and selling homes.
Okay.
Now, people buy and sell homes every single day, right? Even as we're sitting here now, transactions are closing.
Okay.
Right? But I like to say it's simple, but it's not easy. And you need some expertise to help you navigate the whole process. And that's what I do.
Absolutely.
I work with lots of buyers and sellers, title companies, home inspectors, to help people go through this process, because it could be really overwhelming at times.
Oh,
because for most people, it's going to be the largest purchase you will ever make
in your life.
So, so it could be challenging.
Home ownership, yeah. What sparked you to get into that industry?
So I think, and not to sound too cliche, right, but I think this is one of the jobs one of the few jobs where you can actually help people. And I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. Okay. All right. So I used to be an accountant.
Okay, really? Right? With numbers.
And that is the epitome of doing the same thing over and over again.
Numbers.
I could not do it.
Okay.
And then a few years ago, my younger sister, she started looking for her home, for her first home.
Okay.
So we were looking. She had a real estate agent, and of course, I would go with her. It's my little sister.
Okay.
And I kind of felt like the agent wasn't doing, as good of a job as I would like her to do. So we looked for a few houses. The agent, the service was not the best in my opinion.
Okay.
And I told my sister, I said, listen to me, if by such and such a date you don't have a house, I'm going to get my license.
Wow.
And we'll go find you a house.
Did you pass the first time around, or?
I did.
Of course you did.
Yeah, so passed the test, became licensed, and she was my very first client.
Very first client.
Yes. Which is good because she's my sister, so I got to make mistakes and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So that's how I got into the business, because I felt there was an opportunity to help somebody, help a family member in this case, because I know a lot of people will tell you, listen, don't get involved with family members. And that could be good, that could be bad.
Right,
I would say it depends. Right, but she was my very first client.
Very first client, yes. That is amazing to hear. And exactly, let me ask you this: how did you pretty much maneuver around COVID? Because COVID was really tough for a lot of. It was good and tough for a lot of those.
COVID was tough logistically. Real estate agents, though, happened to be treated as if we were emergency workers, so we were able to continue working.
Okay.
Right. So it definitely slowed down for a lot, but business was still there. People were still buying houses, especially as we got used to what I would call the new normal.
Okay.
We got used to the whole idea of, we have to wear masks and we have to be, we have to isolate and we have to interact in a different way.
Right. More Zoom calls.
Much more Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And those Zoom consultations, I think that's one of the holdovers from COVID. So I do a lot of them now.
Okay, you still continue doing that as well.
Yeah, I do buyer consultations via Zoom.
Okay.
It's just more convenient.
Yeah.
Right? Oftentimes people don't want to come to an office or they don't want to meet you in person necessarily. So you do that consultation. But a consultation is important.
It is important.
You don't just jump and say, okay, let's go to houses. You need to have that consultation.
Because you got to build the trust as far as, consumers want to talk to you about their credit score, talk to you about, what they're really looking for, and, just talk to you about what are some of the steps of
and so
you buy the house or get qualified.
Exactly. You're absolutely correct, right? It's not it's just not just let's go buy a house. Okay. So as a buyer, I would hope that you're thinking about this for a little bit of time before you even contact either a real estate agent or lender, right? And credit scores are important. So if you know your credit is kind of not where you need it to be,
right? Okay.
You work on that. What I do tell people though, I have a lot of people who would tell me, well, my credit isn't so good, or I have some things that I need to get rid of before I start. And I said, listen to me, right? Let me put you in touch at least. Let's have a conversation.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what we do is that we say those things, and those things hold us back from doing what we need to do. Because more often than not, it's
true.
not as big of a deal as you thought it was.
Right.
Right. And I always tell people, you don't know until you know.
Until you know.
Right. So my process is we meet, we kind of talk about your goals and stuff like that. And I have a few lenders that I typically work with.
Okay, that's good.
So people who I have relationships with, right? Now, when you're buying a house, you can shop around for a real estate agent. Don't shop too far, right? Just come see me.
Come see you.
You can forget the others.
Wesley Wales.
Yeah, forget the others. Right? Shop around for lenders.
Okay.
But I think it's always good to have like somebody who is on your side from the very beginning.
On your side, and you're comfortable with.
And you come exactly. Well, that's a big deal. I have lost as many deals, more deals than I don't like to think, because I told clients I don't think you should buy this house, right? Because we talked about this. You told me you wanted this particular type of property. Okay. But somehow everything you're sending to me that you want to see is outside of that criteria. Okay. Right.
And so I'm sure they appreciate your honesty, and feedback. Maybe
that's what they say. I don't know.
But you appreciate the honesty, the feedback. The feedback most importantly. Yes.
I think. For me, it's a little bit of selfishness, because I tell people I like to go to bed comfortably and sleep comfortably. And
that's good.
A house is a big purchase.
It's a big purchase.
And especially if it's the first time you're buying one. I have a buyer right now, well qualified. Okay. No issues in terms of but he has questions every step. When you hear him talk, he creates these scenarios, and starts to go on.
Is he overthinking, or
I'm like, okay, I said what you're saying is correct, but you're kind of overthinking a little bit.
That's what it sounds like.
And part of my role in this is to kind of keep you as the client calm and focused, right? Because it could get really, really overwhelming. Right. It's a big deal. I keep saying that to anybody.
And at that point, is there already other offers on the table? Is he frantic because there's other offers on the table, or?
In this case, they actually weren't. This is just his nature, right? And that's another thing. You meet so many different types of people in this business that you have to learn how to interact with them.
Yes, that's very the key important. Right there, because I deal with that every day in my industry. We're with 3 magazines. Different personalities, and you have to adjust. Your conversation with them.
And don't take things too personally.
Exactly. Don't be emotional about it.
Especially when you just met them, right? They don't know you.
Yeah. Right? And like you said, it's their biggest purchase in their life. Yeah. I've owned my home now for 35 years, and I still remember from 35 years ago.
Yeah. You still get some anxiety attacks from that whole process.
I still remember my closing as if it was yesterday. You're signing away your life.
And then it's easy, and I even tell other agents, it's easy. This is our job. So it's easy for us to kind of be dismissive of things because we know the process. Right. But don't do that. Don't do that, because this is not something that they're aware of. They don't understand it, and just because you know the process, your role here is to make sure that they understand that everything
and that you're educating, and that you're educating them as well.
That's very important.
Because it's important for them to feel comfortable as well. Let me ask you about millennials, because I know there's a whole different beast now. The millennials are, they're apparently going straight into skipping the traditional marriages and going straight into buying existing homes. What have been you're working with some millennials? Are they easy to work with, or hard to work with, or know exactly what they want? What has been your experience so far with the millennials?
I think that there are very few people who know exactly what they want. Okay. Right? And millennials are no different. Okay. And I would never say, I don't think I've met anybody who has been hard to work with, right?
Okay.
You meet the people, you figure out this person has a different perspective on things, and you need to navigate with them differently.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I am not huge on labels.
Okay.
So
a customer is a customer.
You try to figure out what you try to figure out what your goals are and how to meet your goals.
Right. Okay.
And I want to make sure at the end of it that you are satisfied with what you got.
Okay.
All right. So, and you kind of have to learn how to interact with them. Some people who are very critical.
Okay.
Right. Some of the millennials, they are super independent, and sometimes they have, I don't want to use unreasonable, but it might be the best word to use.
Right.
Unreasonable expectations. I've heard many times, like, what? How much do they want for this house? Oof.
And they're probably getting advice.
I'm not going to pay that. Nobody's going to pay that.
And they're probably still getting advice from their parents still,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So, and their parents want them out the house. Go buy your house.
Parents can be the bane of your existence as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, I had one client who we were looking for houses. And every time we come to our house, she tells me about this colleague of hers who bought a house 8 years ago, and they said to do this. So, like, a few days into this whole thing, I said, all right, listen to me. You need to stop talking to your friends.
Okay.
Because they are, a lot of them don't have recent experience.
Right.
And the real estate market and industry and space, it's changing every single year. It's
changed drastically
right?
every day. Yes.
So when somebody bought a house 5 years ago, it's not the same market.
Right. It's not.
When they bought, were they in a seller's market? Were they in a buyer's market?
Yeah.
You don't know. So I heard that sellers give you closing help. Like, some of them do, some of them don't. Again,
it depends
on the market you're in.
Exactly.
It depends on how many offers they have. It depends on a lot of things. So let's treat each of these things on its own merit.
Okay.
There's no real one size fits all when it comes to the transaction.
Right.
Each one is different. You have to treat with each one differently.
Right. So when you hear that millennials they prefer to rent. I've just recently read some article on Bloomberg News that millennials prefer to continue renting and feel that buying a house is just overhyped, and they would rather purchase experiences. So what would you say to that when, person that's not a homeowner?
So, I mean, that is actually valid for many people, right? I know people who would rather spend their money on travel and experiences than buy a home. It's not something that I necessarily agree with, but they have a point, right?
Okay.
Because guess what? When you take 40% of your income and you're paying a mortgage,
right,
you can only experience Greece through TV.
Exactly.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Whereas you can rent and still have the experiences.
Right.
Now, what we've been finding, though, especially recently, is that there used to be an argument that, why are you renting when you could buy a house for less than your rent?
And then tax breaks.
Interest rates and stuff like that, that has become less of a strong argument because with rates going up, rents have gone up.
Okay.
Right, so now it's difficult to even rent property. So that has become not such a strong argument.
It's best to buy. To me, I would consider buying than the...
I think it's always better to buy. It's better to own stuff. And especially, so like we have a college-age child now, and I definitely...
At Morgan State.
One of the things that we're looking at is maybe we need to buy some property near to the school so that when she needs to get off campus, she can live there.
Yeah.
And when she's done, either we sell it or she becomes a landlord.
That's a smart move.
So it is definitely one of the things that we need to consider when you think of wealth creation, which is a thing that everybody thinks about.
Okay.
Even the millennials with their experiences, they think about wealth creation because you can't travel for free.
You cannot.
Right? Some of them do, but most people need to pay for it, and you need to find some kind of source of funds to pay for it.
Yes.
And real estate is a really, really, really safe investment, and especially in this DMV area.
Okay.
I mean, appreciation is I don't want to use the word guaranteed, but there's a strong likelihood that your house is going to be worth more next year than it is now.
That is true. I remember when I closed 35 years ago versus where I'm at now. It's amazing. I'm very pleased with it. I want to pivot a little bit. You and I always have great conversations, but I remember one time we had a conversation, and I was like, what's your main focus? And you was like, balance.
Yes.
Balance, and then, you hear work-life balance, of course. What is it when you say balance to you, does that mean in your day-to-day or your?
So I think as I get older and get more experience, I don't know if balance is a thing that we can actually achieve because it suggests some sort of equality somewhere.
Yes.
But yeah, I do know that as I grow my business, I want to grow it in a way that I don't miss out on my life, right? Again, my daughter's now in college, so we have one child, so we became empty nesters almost immediately. So you need to be able to make sure that your work doesn't interfere with how you want to live and enjoy your life. You want to travel.
I agree with you.
I mean, we're around Christmas time now. After Christmas, my family's heading to Trinidad. That's where I'm from.
Yes.
So we're going to spend a few days
there. Going to a good carnival. Are you going to a carnival time?
No, it's not going to be carnival time. It's there. Carnival is like around February March, around the same time as Mardi Gras.
Yes.
Yeah. So balance for me, I think it's elusive, but I think we need to be able to find ourselves in a space where your work isn't so overwhelming and taking so much of your life that you can't do other things. It's like millennials, they want experiences, right? We kind of want the same thing. We want to be able to experience life.
Right.
And I think what has changed is the idea of working for 40, 50 years and then retire. There are way too many stories of people doing that and they retire and die the following week.
Exactly.
So you don't want to do that.
And they didn't get a chance to balance, like you said, balance their life with a mixture of everything. You can work hard, but enjoy life.
Work hard, play hard.
And play hard. Work hard and play hard. Exactly. You know. So I think that's an amazing key to your balance. How I brought one of the magazines here with me when you was actually on the front.
Oh, you mean the best one you ever did?
The best one. You know what? Let me tell you. Normally, out of 9 years of me owning this publication, Simply Bowie Magazine, the cover has always been full color. This was the first issue that I actually did it with a black and white cover, and it was amazing. Everyone was like, "That's Idris on the cover," or Billy D. Wells, and it just yields a lot of results, a lot of big buzz with the publication, with the Simply Bowie publication, with you on the front cover. So, how did your family enjoy it?
So you're saying I should be charging you for this?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Send you an invoice, absolutely. I'm gonna say,
everybody liked it. It was the first time I did anything like this. I was a little apprehensive, like I was about doing this. But
I could tell you was trying to whizzle out of it today, and I was like, no,
I wasn't trying to whizzle out of it. I was, But you haven't steered me wrong as yet.
Awesome.
So so I always enjoy interacting with you.
So 2025. Optimistic or pessimistic for 2025?
Definitely optimistic.
Perfect.
I think that is actually a choice. And we choose to be either pessimistic or optimistic. Right?
Absolutely.
And if you they talk about self-fulfilling prophecies. So if you choose to be pessimistic, it's probably going to be a terrible year.
Exactly.
Right? If you choose to be optimistic, it isn't perfect. It might still be a pretty good year.
It's going to feed yourself positive thoughts every day and plant the seeds of your business and work-life balance, and it's going to all fall into place of your contracts and generating new clients for yourself.
Exactly.
Wes, I want to thank you so much for joining the show today.
This was fun.
Please tell us your website, where to reach you, how to contact you.
Okay, so my website is primedmvrealty.com. That's primedmvrealty.com. You can find me on social media at Wesley Realtor. Just Google Wesley Williams real estate agent, and I'll be at the top of the page.
Awesome, Wes Williams. Thank you. Great having you here on the show today.
It's fun.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Absolutely.
Thank you.